Good morning, everyone. So I guess being a referee is a hard job. Being the guy that follows Pierluigi Collini's probably qualifies you as an even harder job. And especially because I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to be focusing not on inspirational talks or visions regarding the future, but I will try to, in the next 8 minutes, I will try to boil down some very early learnings that we have from the implementations that we're doing at NOS regarding generative AI. And to begin, a little bit of context of where we stand and how we came to this. So we've been working with AI for the last roughly 15 years. So the image that I usually use is we were training models when the iPhone 3 was being launched. So at that point in time, it would take us like a month to train a model. And we were very much focused on what today we qualify as predictive AI. We are training models. We are trying, at the early onset of the technology, predicting churn, predicting customer behavior. And since that point in time, we went through a very learning experience. We've basically today have extensively deployed models across pretty much all of our operations. I would say probably there's not a single activity at NOS where we haven't fused algorithms and predictive AI to basically every single action that we do. And it covers from very traditional, the churn prediction, next best action, sending field teams to the field, managing the network, optimizing consumption. So today we have the fastest network in Europe, and we managed to do that with a minimal impact from an environmental footprint, because we're optimizing the network and trying to reduce as much, everything based on algorithms and based on the capacity of optimizing that. One of the key learnings and one of the key points that early emerged in that discussion, and it's very relevant for the points that I'm going to mention now, is very early we were very aware of the ethical and responsibility of the actions and the algorithms that we were deploying. Because it was very easy to identify that the algorithm could dictate actions that had real impact on people's lives, even from our employees and to our customers. And so our focus, I boiled this down to 4 key insights. The first one, it may sound a little bit redundant, but be clear with your objectives. Be clear with what you're aiming to achieve with the project that we're doing. So today we already have generative AI projects and models live in production, interacting with customers and having impact on our services. But the key point here is be clear with what you want to achieve with the model that you're deploying and the implementation that you're doing. Because there's a lot of talk about the actual impact on people's lives and on your employees, but let's be pragmatic about it. Any initiative that you want to do and need to do needs to create value, and that will have impact. So the impact on functions can be augment, can be accelerate, can be automate, and can be add. These 4 actions can happen, but you need to be clear on them since the onset of the project and be clear on what you want to achieve. Otherwise, you'll be quickly sidetracked on the final product. The second lesson, and I prompted this to Midjourney, and I actually like this image. Different from what you have with predictive AI, where most of the work that you're doing, you control the training set, you control the data, you're actually developing the models. In a Gen AI context, you actually don't control the model. It's an unknown body that you have there that actually, with whom you interact, you prompt, and it actually creates the results. So versus what you had with predictive AI, there's a big difference where you would spend a lot of time training the model and then relatively limited amount of time testing. Our experience with the generative AI models is actually the reverse. The recommendation here, or the insight, is iterate fast, iterate very fast on the model, and then allow a lot of time to test, because there's a lot of unknown, there's a lot of consequences that will come from not knowing exactly how the model will work in all of the different prompting, in the different interactions that we'll have. And this actually becomes very relevant in terms of how you approach the projects. The third insight is reduce the risk surface. And here I tend to, there's a lot of discussions and you've seen a lot of talks about co-pilots. I tend to, our experience so far is actually a little bit opposite to that direction. And I'll try to make this as an image to explain a little bit what I mean. Imagine a call center agent and the possibility of having a generic co-pilot, a generic artificial intelligence that it's trying to anticipate and react to every single type of interaction that can come to that agent versus a single-purpose tool that actually can help and solve a problem. An example would be comparing two different invoices and creating an explanation to how the two invoices differ, and that would offer an explanation to the customer. This actually allows you to harness the power of the generative AI, focus it on a single-purpose objective, and reduces the problems that you will have of exposing yourself to all of the confabulations, the hallucinations, whatever you want to call it, that may come from adding generative AI to your processes. Because at the end of the day, it's very hard to control how the model will react, even if you build guardrails and if you try to put constraints into how the model works, it becomes very difficult. And this is absolutely key to actually start the journey with generative AI. If you reduce the purpose, you're clear on the objective that you want, you reduce the purpose, and it's easier to actually get to actionable results with actual impact on what your processes are. And the final insight that I wanted to share might sound a little bit of a redundancy, but data is still key to everything that you want to do with generative AI. Data here is absolutely key. It's yours. It's something that you control. Today, it's, you can, in a controlled environment, expose your data to a generative AI model and control and not losing ownership of the data. But there's an additional insight, which is generative AI is actually very good at understanding the structure that's embedded in your data. The structure, the way you structure your data actually informs the model and helps infuse the interaction that you have with the model with your own perspective on how things should be done. So don't think about, we like a lot generative AI because there's a lot of discussion around, I just feed it a PDF or I feed a file and it can understand and read. Yes, it's true, but the actual non-generic answers that you're going to get will come from the data, your first-party data, the data that you control from your processes, from your customers, and that's where you're going to be able to construct models and algorithms that will help your company and generate value. So in a very short term, these were my 4 key insights. My final thought is this is absolutely transformational. The power is there. We need to be careful in following this because it can absolutely be transformational if you're exact and precise in exactly what you're attempting to do with generative AI. It's very easy. It's very easy to be carried away because it's a very democratic technology. It's very accessible. Every single one of you has interacted with it, which is very different from the technologies that you had before. But be careful of the pitfalls of actually being a very democratic technology. Because when you move it to a corporate environment, all of these concerns become, they're still there, they never left. And these are the steps that we follow to actually be able to bring to production these types of models. So, thank you.